that was the first focus. The second focus is on the creating the effective budgets and forecast during the uncertainties. Now we had a seminar, we had a conference last few weeks back where we were discussing about how do we do a budget and forecast during the uncertainties. So the details are there, but here we are going to talk about a little bit why we need to do that. Budgeting and forecasting as is used to be understood as a fixed tool. So you do the budget one time, and then you keep on forecasting for every 3 months or every 6 months to have a update where we are going to reach the budget or we are not going to reach the budget and do a course correction. Now, during these times, the CFOs, like my focus is going to be that how do we build a budget, because the past performance are not going to be any indicative of future potential, and future potential and future course of action is again uncertain because we don't know when the pandemic is going to end and when the businesses are going to rebound, what will be the consumers preferences, what will be their spending power, what will be their interest in many different products. So we have a lot of uncertainties at this point of time. So the next focus for the CFOs is going to be how we create proper budget and forecast to still guide us, because budgeting and forecasting is very very important for the business, because it gives visibility to the team into the future. Even though we cannot see the future, we don't, it's not a crystal ball, but it gives a visibility, some kind of visibility into the future. So we do forecast short term nowadays. We do it every month and we do it only for next 3 months, because we cannot see very clearly what's going to happen after 3 months, right? So we now the best practices around the budget and forecast is to do it is to do it quickly, like short term, every month, every 2 months, and do it for a short period of time. So we don't do any more like 5 year plan or 3 year plan or 1 year plan, because those plans have no meaning. We cannot really see that far. We still need to have some like long term planning to, because some of the expenses are going to be committed for a long term success of a business. But we, since we cannot 100% sure that when are we going to be able to see that future or not, so we have to build flexibilities into the business. So forecasting gives a visibility to the team, because as per a survey by Deloitte, 64% of the CFOs expect to use the changing environment to redesign the business itself. So now there are many businesses who are redesigning the business, who are redesigning their business models, who are pivoting from one business to another business, or from one market segment to another market segment, or extending these services, or going vertical or going horizontal. Many education businesses has been now turning into digital learning space. They are forced to do that because otherwise they will be closed. The schools, the physical school for secondary and primary, over time, overnight, have to turn into from a physical 100% physical school to a 100% online school. Now, even though they are not 100% perfect, but they are able to teach the kids. So these kind of and changing, these kind of redesigning into the business is going to be frequent. We may have to change from one to another system. So hence the budgeting and planning activities are more frequent. We have to do it more frequent because because of the changes in the environment. Now, the next thing that we do at the moment in the budgeting and forecasting is that we find the growth levers of the business to understand their impact. Then we set up a consistent process for forecasting, and we normally do it like monthly for the next 3 months. So that's what I do at the moment. I look at my on the books and the future next 3 months and continue to do it for next 3 months every single month. So we, even though we prepare a budget for the whole year, but we are not really following that budget. We follow the forecast that we are preparing every single month for the next 3 months, and that drives our strategies on how we are going to survive in the business, right? And whenever we look at the changes in the environment, like new variants or ease of travel restrictions, or imposing of new travel restrictions, or changing behaviors in the social economy of the country, we change our business plans, we change our business models. So that is something every CFO and CEO are doing now. They understand what is the growth lever of the business at this point of time and what is the potential, and then they set up a consistent process to do the forecasting, and ideally majority is the monthly for the next 3 months. Then the another best practice is that we build the forecast bottom up. Usually we use the zero based budgeting. We have a webinar, or we have a course on my CPE. If you are interested in zero based budgeting, you can look at that. Rather than we go about the outsized assumptions around the industry, say industry is going to grow at this level and we will be able to capture some portion of this industry. We don't use those kind of assumptions for making the businesses. So now we do the zero based budgeting, where we look at every single activity of the business and say whether it's still relevant in the current environment or not. If not, then how are we going to replace it? If yes, are we optimized with it? Are we allocating enough resources to this business activity? Right. So every business has to rethink their business model when they are doing it. Zero-based budgeting is not a easy exercise. It requires a lot of investment. It requires a lot of efforts from the top management and from the middle management to think it through, prepare the different assumptions, prepare the different scenarios, and choose the best. So even though you may want to do it once, but you still need to keep it updated every 3 months or every 6 months, so that the budgets that we are preparing, the zero-based budget and the forecast that we are preparing, remains relevant. So the bottom-up approach is very important. We cannot do the top-down approach like in the past we used to do, where the budgets used to come from the top, and we agree on those budgets, right? And we just follow through these budgets. Now the budget has to be made from the scratch, based on the market understanding, and then we prepare the budgets to the upside, right? How much profitability, how much total revenue we are going to create. And the most important thing in current environment is that we need to look at the focus on maybe 3 or 4 KPIs at one point of time for tracking and forecasting. We should not try to forecast everything. We should not try to focus on achieving every single KPI, because that will put a strain on the company's resources. So, like for example, now in hospitality industry, we focus at the moment only on driving the business, or capture the market growth. So we don't care about the rates, we don't care about the brand image, we don't we not we do care about them, but we're not really focusing on that. What we are focusing on to get as many as visitors in our hotels, whether by doing promotions, by doing discounts, by doing inspirational posts, by whatever is it. So that's one KPI. Then another KPI is their satisfaction during the stay in the hotel. That's the another important thing, because otherwise they will not keep coming back. So that's what we need to track. Otherwise there's nothing else that we want to track at the moment. And the cash burn. So there are only 2 3 things that we focus on at any given point of time. So this keeps our efforts in check, keeps our efforts and keeps our resources also in a tight vacuum, so that we are not overstretching ourselves. So that's the second focus, creating effective budgets and forecasts during the uncertainty. And we follow the zero-based budgeting for it. The best way to do this uncertainty is to have it every single month, more frequent, and for a short period of time. So that's and focus on fewer than 4 KPIs at one point of time.